If I was starting my healing journey today, this is what I would start with. I am so passionate about this topic. I personally started getting into spirituality and healing and the law of attraction when I was about 14, and I'm going to be 23 this year. So I've been at it for a while now. We're going to be covering books, habits, mindsets, little tips that I have, as well as a little bit of my own healing and spirituality journey. First, I wanted to start with some of the books that I read very early on in my healing journey. This was the very first spirituality book that I read. This is The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer. I'm gonna read a little blurb from the back. The Untethered Soul begins by walking you through your relationship with your thoughts and emotions, helping you uncover the source and fluctuations of your inner energy. I thought this was the perfect introduction into spirituality for me. I really loved it. Next came The Power of Now and You Are a Badass. This one is more of the traditional self-help book style. It is more about confidence building and how to just stop doubting yourself. To make the journey into the power of now, we will need to leave our analytical mind and its false created self, the ego, behind. What I would recommend if you are really ready to just dive right off the deep end, the Gene Keys. This is like a whole philosophy, and it starts out similar to how you would look into your astrology chart. You enter in your birthday, the time you were born, the location, and you get your genetic keys profile. And it kind of delves into each individual key throughout the book. And there are some incredible insights in this if you are willing to devote the time to it. One of the beautiful things that I've found with books though is that pretty much no matter what it is, if a book is calling to you at a specific time, chances are it's going to resonate with you during the time of life that you're in. I feel like whenever I picked up one of these books, it was exactly when I needed to hear messages like that. And I think no matter what self-help book you pick up, I think there's going to be something in it that you might resonate with. So as a whole, I definitely recommend giving that genre a try if it's something that you haven't delved into before. Moving on to some habits. Something I recommend as the perfect starting point is every day focus on a physical win, a mental win, and a spiritual win. So for a physical win, that would mean working out or eating a healthy meal. For a spiritual win, that could look like journaling or meditating or going on a long walk outside and just disconnecting. And then a mental win could look like reading a book or trying something new, trying to learn a new skill. I feel like this just makes everything feel a lot more manageable. You're not trying to do a million things every single day. You're just focusing on certain habits that fall into those three categories, and that way you're kind of just checking off all of the boxes. I also found that during that process, I learned what worked for me, what didn't really work for me, and that is kind of how I ended up with the routines that I have today. I think especially if you're someone with a similar personality type to me, you might feel like you just want to dive right in and do a million things all in one day. And while that can be fun, the most sustainable way to do it is to focus on one major habit that you want to include or shift in your lifestyle and just focus on that one thing. For example, if you are someone that wakes up and the second you open your eyes, you go on your phone, maybe instead of that, you decide to start picking up a book first thing in the morning or doing a page of journaling. It can be very small, simple changes, but I think if you are trying to change maybe your most prominent bad habit or non-optimal habit, I think that is where you can start having the most change right from the beginning. And then also, this one is specifically for people that have a menstrual cycle. If you haven't started looking into the 4 phases of your menstrual cycle, I highly recommend you do that. It has taught me so much about myself, so much about honoring my needs given what phase I'm in, and it has completely transformed my life. I feel like I could do an entire video just dedicated on cycle syncing and tracking your menstrual cycle. There's so much helpful information out there, but I think learning about the 4 phases and acknowledging how it affects you throughout the month, that is a wonderful way to start honoring your needs and ultimately furthering your healing journey too. Something that is so incredibly important on a healing journey is learning how to tap into your intuition. And then once you do start learning how to tap into your intuition, it is a whole other thing learning how to honor your intuition and honor your needs. habits. A really great place to start is in any given moment when you remember, check in with yourself, slow down, take a breath, check in and ask yourself, what are my core needs right now? How am I feeling in this moment? And is there anything that I need that I am not meeting? And then from there, you can take steps to better take care of yourself and honor those needs. I remember the very first retreat that I went on. It was the first time in my life where I was in a group of people that were constantly asking each other, what are your needs right now? How can I help you? And it was so mind-blowing because I've never experienced that. And the whole group was so connected and so in tune with each other. And I feel like that's part of the reason why that retreat was such a great experience for me. Now I do it on my own and I always check in with myself and ask, what do I need right now? What are my core needs? And I make a plan to meet them. Intuition also plays such a major role in decision making throughout our lives. I think we can all relate to experiencing at some point in time in our lives a gut feeling. All of those are examples of your intuition. Something I also want to talk about are the days where you're not feeling motivated to do anything related to a healing journey. You don't want to do your healthy habits. You don't want to read a book. You don't want to do anything. And for those days, the thing that I've noticed is that I can do one small positive habit and it will be a chain reaction. I know, for example, the days that I wake up and I'm like, I do not want to move my body today. I want to just sit on that chair and rot. But the days like that where I still decide, okay, I'm just gonna do a stretch, I'm gonna do like a 10-minute workout, nothing intense, literally every single time I feel a million times better. And then after I'm like, I should really make myself a healthy meal, or I'm gonna have a nice everything shower. And it just becomes this chain reaction of positive habits. So even though the motivation was not there in the beginning, the motivation grew as a result of the discipline. And that is something that takes time. Of course, if you're not feeling well and you really do need to take a break, or if you get super busy and you need to take a break, that is totally fine. And that's also a very important step of a healing journey. But I think it's also important to have a little bit of tough love and be able to recognize in yourself when you are not doing something just because you're not feeling like it. And you have to decide, is this valid or is it just me being a little lazy? And it can sometimes be a little bit of a rude awakening, but we've all been there. Definitely don't be afraid to modify your routines and make them more accommodating for low energy if that's how you're feeling. And then probably in a couple days, you're gonna have another high energy day and then you're gonna do a bunch of things, and that's great too. So now moving into mindsets. This is the part of a healing journey that will have so many ups and downs, and you're gonna have to just keep practicing it over and over and over again, probably for your entire life. And I know it sounds a little daunting, but it really is just part of the process, I think. But just because there's going to be ups and downs, it doesn't mean that the ups aren't worth it. Something that I am so grateful I was introduced to at such a young age is the idea that the world is only as open to you as your mind is. Something that I think is so important to recognize is the fact that every single person on the planet has a different upbringing, has grown up in a different area, has different beliefs, different influences on their life. So how can there only be one form of reality? Because there's so many different perspectives of reality. And if you want to be a little delusional, if you want to just believe that everything is going to work out, doors are going to open for you. I think in the society that we live in, it is so easy to fall into just feeling hopeless and feeling very low energy and like, what is the point of any of this? You can also consciously choose that that's not the reality you want to live in. You can consciously choose to believe that the world is open to you, that everything is working out for you, and that you have the power to create the reality that you want. Even if that means that 80% of the time you are faking it until you make it. I think even if you're maybe being a little bit delusional, the outcome of that is having a significantly happier life. I also think that the universe matches your energy. So if you are putting good things out into the world, and if you are believing that things are working out for you and that good things come to you, it's actually gonna start happening. And I have experienced that firsthand. The amount of things that I have manifested into my life is quite insane. I've been told so many times in my life that I have a horseshoe up my ass. In those words exactly, actually. But it's true. I just decided that I want a certain life for myself and that it's gonna happen regardless. And I've had so many wonderful experiences because of it. You also have to genuinely want change for yourself, because healing and changing your life is undoubtedly a lot of work, and there's going to be ups and downs, and you have to want it badly enough for yourself that you're going to keep going regardless. And that's absolutely not to say that it can't be also extremely fun and inspiring, but you also do just have to be prepared that sometimes you're not going to feel the most inspired, and you kind of just need to remember why you started doing this in the first place. Something I've also learned is that the more hard things you can do right in the beginning, the easier things are going to get in the long run. It is so much easier to just go with the flow and whatever happens, happens. And if you don't feel motivated one day, it can just be easier to lay in bed or scroll on your phone or watch TV or just stay in the friend group that you've been in for the past 5 years, even though it does not feel good for you. It is so much easier to stay the same. It is definitely harder to make changes, but the more you can make those changes, those hard decisions, things naturally will start getting so much better and so much easier for you. Healing definitely isn't linear. I know we've heard that a lot, but I wanted to say it in this video because especially when you are doing things like trying to rewire your mindset, especially if you have had certain beliefs really enforced and ingrained in your life, it takes time to rewire that and shift your beliefs. And there's going to be many ups and downs. It's very ever changing and you have to kind of change with it. So I really hope that you are feeling empowered and inspired to start your healing journey or further your healing journey if you've already been on it. I hope this offered some new perspectives, and if there's anything that you want to add to this conversation, please, please, please comment it down below because I would love to hear your perspectives. And if there's anything that you think should be in a starter guide for a healing journey, comment it down below. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Here's my Instagram if you'd like to see more content from me. And until next time, I will talk to you in my next video. Bye.